Hey everybody and welcome back to Semi Stories. Today I got some stories from r/today I messed up, starting with the insane story where OP brands himself as the biggest pervert and 100% deserves this. This one is a roller coaster from beginning to end. This happened an hour ago and I'm still shaking in fear about how my life will now become from now on. There's two situations that leads to the conclusion of the mess up. Here's the first situation. I asked my sister-in-law to borrow her 360 pocket camera for a trip my wife and I are soon vacationing to. I found out the memory card still had content. Her husband travels a lot and she made a 1-hour POV style 360 porn video, assuming sent it to him a while back. I've had the hots for her for the past 8+ years, before she got married and I did. There were several times sexual tension arose between the two of us, living together for a year as strictly roommates, movies, breakfast, dinners, getting drunk while watching movies, just the two of us, etc. A certain trust or test was implemented and nothing ever happened between the two of us, as at the time I was dating my now wife, which was working at a distance. But damn it, at the time if she had just touched my hand once back then, I think I would have lived a whole different life. So finding this video, I thought I struck gold. I could have what I've always fantasized about, gifting my past self, while living my happy current life. Here's the second accident. I have an automated house that lights up the house with geolocation. Before the app worked with Apple HomeKit, a third-party app needed to be downloaded which tracks your family and friends. Free version only allows you to add one person, so my wife. The wife and I have had this app for 3 years now. Even if it's useless now, after an app update a couple of years back on the original app, we never deleted it since it was so useful for tracking each other using notifications. I get a notification when she is at work, and when I arrive at work she gets one. We also both get notifications when one arrives home. Good for times when she does groceries, for example, and I get a notification to prompt me to go out and help her out. Or when I work late and finally leave the office, prompting her to set up the dining table. Last night she fell asleep without charging her phone. I hate it when she does that. Today she goes to work with barely any battery. What if she needs to call the police or the hospital for an emergency? I have the day off today. Today was the day I'd do the deed. I don't only go with simple 360 video, but I literally set it up on my VR headset in bed with AirPods on. The whole experience. This would have lasted me 5 minutes tops. But the foreplay she does is so long and boring. Then the action starts and I go on. My wife's phone didn't give a notification as she arrived because of her now dead phone. She comes into the bedroom and sees me masturbating in bed with the VR goggles on. She knows I masturbate occasionally but never saw me do it. I sneak it in here and there. But VR porn was never discussed as a "is it cheating" type of thing. You know the convo I'm talking about. Is it cheating if you have a sex doll? Is it cheating if it's a robot? Is it cheating if you put a pleasure toy on and someone from across the internet strokes you in real time, etc.? It was the type of conversation we'd have at the start of our relationship when we were still friends 10 years ago, to see how far one could take it. Weird, I know, but let's say it was one of these pre-game conversations to see if we're on the same page before things started to get serious. Pre-game conversations were not only about sex, by the way. Anyways, VR wasn't a thing back then, so it was never discussed. So I never knew if it was right or wrong for me to do so. I guess it was wrong because she rushed in and ripped the goggles from my face, and that's when I see her in the room. The hell? She then looks inside the goggles. Is that my sister? I am effed. She still had her shoes on from arriving, so she just grabbed her bag with the VR headset and left the house. Seeing from the tracking app, she's at her parents' house, which are neighbors of the sister-in-law. I'm so effed. As OP should be, viewing porn can be excusable, although I personally think VR porn is just kind of dystopian weird. But what happens next? So basically this is what happened tonight. Once my wife arrived at her parents' house, that's when I received a notification her phone was back on and charging. Some people asked about the app. It's called Life 360. It also gives battery percentage notifications when it runs low or when the phone is back on. I was already typing the long story on Reddit when suddenly that notification appeared, which I last minute checked and wrote she was at her parents' house before posting. So basically, after feeling a bit better by telling someone and having a bit of weight off my shoulders, I was pacing around the apartment while trying to give her calls after calls, but it kept saying her phone was busy. This went on for 45 minutes or forever. I could not focus on the time. All of a sudden, the sister-in-law calls. I ignored. I was way too scared to face this. She called me 5 times in a row while I just watched it ringing. Then she gave up. Then just a text saying, "Call me." I left the apartment and decided to go watch a movie at the theater. I needed to get distracted, which didn't help as I didn't focus once on this movie. I received a call from my wife during the movie, but I ignored it. She knows I have an Apple Watch and I receive all notifications, so she knows I was ignoring. She only called once. My sister-in-law 3 more times during the movie. I left the theater and decided to go back home. On the drive back, I received a notification she arrived home. Now I was petrified, but my out-of-body experience just told me, F it, suck it up, just get it over with. I arrived home and was getting ready for the storm about to happen. That out-of-body experience came back really quickly to reality as I got to the door and then had that fear again. I know she got the notification that I was back. I get in the house and both my wife and sister-in-law are in the living room on the couch. I didn't say anything. I wanted them to speak first. What if I said sorry, but there was nothing to be sorry about? At this point I was trying to gauge the mood. I'm not for confrontations or leading conversations, I'm very introverted. But I know I should be the first to say sorry, but I just don't know how. Wife then says, I spoke to sister-in-law about what happened. She knows. Messed up in the head of me, out of reflex, I say, knows what? She proceeds, don't lie, the video. I was red flushed, I'm sure. My heart was beating so fast. Then the wife said that she deleted the video. This was when I apologized to the both of them. So very, very much. Almost crying. I saw all the Reddit comments about divorce and all, and I was really upset at myself. But I deserved it. But not really. Then the sister-in-law speaks. She says, you do understand this video wasn't for you. Then she goes on for 10 minutes to tell me what I already know. I was wrong, and I just kept nodding. But then this drama all comes out that just messed with me. She said that it wasn't for her husband neither. He's been constantly traveling to Bulgaria voluntarily at any chance he could for work. But also, through the years, he's been having an affair with a colleague there which works at that branch. She knew for a while and let it slide as he was still providing for sister-in-law. But the providing became less and less, and the wife knew about this as she and her sister are super close. But the info was kept within the family to avoid dishonor. This is a big Eastern mentality to have, and it's not the first time family info was kept secret from me. But now they told me because of the circumstance, I was told not to apologize or speak to her husband as he does not know about this video. My sister-in-law is seeing someone else. Her husband and her both live as roommates for now. The divorce word can never go out, but she's found someone long distance and that video was for him. The reasons for all of the calls was not to mention anything to her husband. Sister-in-law feared that if I did, then this video would have been proof held during the divorce process as if she was at fault. It was a very emotional afternoon. I felt like throwing up many times. The focus was more on sister-in-law and her life though, and her shame for having kept her relationship going as long as it has. The guy is barely leaving any money on the side for her anymore, and she'd been sleeping more and more at her parents' house. Me obtaining the video didn't come up more than once. I don't know if it was because it was too embarrassing for everyone or what, but it will come up for another day for sure. Maybe after everyone has relaxed and tears dried. I'll have an honest conversation with my wife about my wrongdoings and also include if VR porn is fine or not. For tonight, my wife invited sister-in-law to stay and sleep over. We got some food and drank a few bottles of wine to make us forget a bit, although it felt really awkward. Sister-in-law seemed to be feeling better. She was smiling and laughing and slapping my shoulder or kicking me under the table every time I made a joke. She seemed more open with me now, as I was one of the people to know her secret. She could trust and talk to if she needs to. We will all three sleep in sleeping bags in the living room like camping to keep her company during this tough time for her. Wife seemed okay for now too. Oh god, I mean, the most surprising thing here is that OP even considers whether or not he was in the wrong, which he definitely was. That's your own sister-in-law, and even if you have feelings for her, especially if you have feelings for someone that go beyond carnal desires, you don't do something like that. I could not imagine liking someone a lot and then being able to rub one out to a video of her without her even being the one that sent it. But what really blew my mind is what happens next. Get ready, because this one is a doozy. This is his now ex-wife. Did he not realize, or was he too dumb to remember we share everything, including the same Reddit app? I logged on to see this throwaway as the default logging account. I've removed all of this personal story for my family's protection and changed this account's password, although it might be too late and already circulated online. I took a look through the comments and was seriously disgusted by most of the responses suggesting to sexually approach us both last night. Which my sister did mention he tried something in the middle of the night. This guy is incredibly living in another world. I'm not only posting this to reassure everyone thinking he got away with it, that these types of scumbags do not. I came home yesterday with my sister to pack my stuff. I saw his update saying I seemed alright, but I was keeping it in for the next morning. The reason we slept in the living room is because I didn't want him to see my bags in the corner of the bedroom. He came home suddenly before I finished packing. It wasn't fun camping or a picnic. This morning, before he woke up, we grabbed the rest of my stuff and left. I went to the bank and froze our joint account before he irresponsibly starts taking cash out. I'm not seeing him anymore. I'm going to lawyer up, give away all of this Reddit gold to the comments that I feel were actually reasonable, and divorce his ass. Oh, and if you can read this, I've deleted the tracking app. My lawyer will call you to unfreeze your share and take the steps to unlink me from any other tracking apps you might still have on me. Too long didn't read? His life is ruined. And there you have it, folks. The real way that OP messed up. What an insane ending to the story. I'm kind of curious whether or not OP has ever posted anything else after this event, but I kind of doubt it. I could not find anything to suggest this. But I did find out that the throwaway account was eventually hacked, and the person that did it found his chat conversations so illegally disturbing that he was considering contacting the authorities, so who knows how bad the situation with OP really was. Now, focusing on the story itself, why did OP and his wife even have a tracking app? I think that is insanely weird, and the only reason I could think of is that they just don't trust each other, which is fair considering that OP was a real nutjob. In the end, I hope that the wife ends up with a way better person than this guy, and he is now in a lifetime worth of issues. What a dumbass. If you liked the story as much as I did, please leave a comment down below and let me know what your favorite part was, and I will see you guys next time. See ya.